The Dallas Mavericks still do not have a head coach. We are 13 days away from the NBA draft, and they still have not figured this situation out. If we can call it the soundbite from Masai Ujiri, the day that they moved on from Jason Kidd, they held a press conference the next morning, and Ujiri made a comment about the fact that they have not talked to anybody about this. Let's go back to last month and what Ujiri had to say at that press conference.
Yeah, I've not spoken to anybody. That would be disrespectful, I think. Like to Jason, I would never ever do that to any coach or any in any position that I'll be. I want to make that very, very clear. There's not one person that has gotten a phone call from me.
I think we all kind of thought, really?
Whether or not he contacted someone, he had someone immediately in mind that he would go out and grab, right? He was gonna parse that language and sit there and say, "Well, I didn't contact him prior to this," right? Yeah. That's.
I think it goes to show that there was in his mind probably irreparable. It was an irreparable situation to continue on with Jason Kidd, and even if that means that maybe year one under this next head coach, or really year one under him, doesn't go as smoothly as maybe he would wish, that doesn't matter as much as the damage that would have been done. And damage is a harsh word, but the damage that would have been done keeping Kidd.
Keeping the friction around is an issue.
Right.
And he probably correctly identified where the fraction point could be, and it's like, you know what, we're moving on. And I want to make this point as far as the Mavs timeline, because we've gotten into this a little bit, but to me, these first couple of years with Ujiri at the helm, he can take some swings. He doesn't have to go out and get the guy. Your main goal is to me, kind of baptize Cooper Flagg in a bunch of different options. See what works with him. You can have a bunch of different offensive schemes. You can try different personnel. He is kind of moldable to that degree. But his timeline is so long that you might not be winning a title in 3 years, because we know that there are other teams that seem a little more built for this current time frame. But you can try and snipe them on the backside. You can find out what your real strength is with this core, and then hit the ground running with a coach that hits the market later on down the line.
I saw a lot of comments, because I posted about this a little bit ago, that, hey, here we are 13 days away from the NBA draft, and they still haven't hired somebody. And someone commented, oh, well, this just tells me that they're trying to hire somebody that's currently coaching in the NBA Finals. And I get that reaction, but Sean Sweeney was that guy, and he's already going to Orlando. I don't know that there's anybody else coaching in this series that fits that bill that would be a viable option for them right now.
Is that the question? Is that they thought they were going to be able to get Sweeney, and then they got scooped, and so they had to go back to ground zero and start over again?
Maybe, but I also, I've seen people talking about John Shire, the Duke coach, that obviously coached Cooper Flagg at Duke. I think I just assumed, because who leaves Duke? that he would never leave Duke.
He had to change his color wardrobe.
Idolized Coach K and replaced Coach K, and I'm going to do the Coach K thing and just be here forever and win 800 games, and because that's just what you do. But I don't know. Maybe he wants a different challenge. The college game has changed so much over the course of the last couple of years. Maybe it is appealing to him to get out of there, to get out of the college game altogether. We'll see.
My one thought on that is just, I feel like college basketball especially is probably more accustomed to having players for just a year. It's almost like they were working or living in the transfer portal era before the transfer portal, just because they had so many kids who played a season in college and then declared for the draft. As far as your question, Kelly, about Sweeney being swiped, I don't think that there were any real strong reports suggesting how strongly Sweeney was tied to the Mavs. Obviously, he was here before this last season under Jason Kidd, so he knew people within the organization. But Sean Sweeney went to San Antonio as associate head coach to be a head coach in the NBA. So the fact that he just landed with Orlando, I don't know that.
Again, we kind of discussed this the last time, where Sweeney's concerned, you want a Spurs defense, and it's sure, can the alien come with? You know what I mean?
Right.
There are certain elements to that scheme that revolve strictly around an abnormal defensive talent.
Yeah.
My question to both of you guys is there anyone out there in the rumors, because I'm kind of trying to scoop anything right now, there's no one that screams that's got to be the guy to me.
No one.
No, there isn't. And listen, I have been predominantly encouraged by the things Masai Ujiri has said, the things that Masai Ujiri has done. But this is at least a little bit of a red flag of, you got to figure this out by now. You need to know who that guy's going to be so that you can be having the conversations leading up to draft day about what you want this to look like, how you want this to all mesh together, who fits well with Cooper Flagg, what's your system going to look like with Cooper Flagg plus X at the number 9 pick in the NBA draft. It's at least a little bit concerning that this hasn't materialized yet.
Especially with how quickly he moved on bringing in Mike Schmitz,
Yeah.
who was a guy without prior GM experience, a really young guy taking a really big role. I think his decisiveness in that vein would have made me think that head coach would follow along the same trend.
Because the reporting from Mark Stein is that they're having exploratory conversations with John Shire as well as Michigan head coach Dusty May. And that's according to reporting from just 2 days ago.
Yeah.
You're having exploratory conversations on June 8th? Maybe June 6th, June 7th, based on how this trickled down to Mark Stein and eventually was reported on June the 8th. What?
I think, to Michelle's question here a little bit ago, I do think choosing the GM and choosing your right hand is probably a little bit easier when you feel like you're in control, right? What he's trying to do now is find a partner in a way that Schmitz is, but will always kind of be second in that relationship.
Yeah.
So Ujiri right now is finding who is going to be my field general, who's going to keep us in line on the court, and who's going to run the offense and develop Cooper Flagg the way I want. I think the question is whether or not you want to go the college ranks or you want someone with NBA experience. Because there are a couple of assistant coaches, either from the T-Wolves or the Rockets, for instance. I think Terry Stotts is out there too. So there are a couple options. But I'm kind of fascinated to see which direction they feel more likely to go down.